This is immense today, right? This is the biggest women's basketball game of all time. I think the ratings will bear that out. It is the story of the day, no doubt. It is happening before the Final Four, which I've seen a lot of takes out there saying, why did the committee do this? Why'd they put them in this bracket this early? Because I wanted to guarantee this matchup. If you wait one more round, you're not guaranteed that. It was hard enough getting to this point. These teams have been challenged in the tournament, and you have something that maybe some newspapers have posited as good versus evil, and we'll get into that in a second. But I cannot believe that we are here. If you watched morning cable television, it is the start of every show. It is Angel Reese. It is Caitlin Clark. It is Iowa. It is LSU. It is Kim Mulkey. You have tons of huge personalities at the forefront here, and they are going to own this night, and I'm really surprised that we're here.
I mean, you said personalities. I don't think it's personalities that is bringing people to the TV. I think it's the basketball. Like, I think Caitlin Clark, especially, people want to see what, if they haven't seen her already, what's the big deal about this woman. And then you sort of, if you're just learning, if you didn't even watch last year, didn't really know all the sort of smack talk that went between them and everything else, then you're curious to see what these defending champs look like against, again, this woman who's like taken everybody's sort of, fantasy and like created this great like women's basketball player, this team that everybody wants to watch. But I think the Kim Mulkey element adds a whole nother, I don't care if you have fallen in love with Caitlin Clark. I don't care if you hate Caitlin Clark. I don't care if you don't know anything about LSU. There's something about the Kim Mulkey element that you're just drawn to because she's just putting herself out there as this tremendous villain and doesn't care what you think.
Oh, but she took exception to how the LA Times at least positioned this whole thing as good versus evil and villains, which is weird. We're going to play two clips. First, I certainly want to play the Kim Mulkey retort to the LA Times thing, which, by the way, came at a great time for Kim Mulkey because it was a pretty garbage column. And I understand that it was a macro approach to explain the story of this. And Kim Mulkey, in every sense of the word, is a villain. But I think people projected something onto this team. And let's play the clip and we'll talk about it after.
How dare people attack kids like that? You don't have to like the way we play. You don't have to like the way we trash talk. You don't have to like any of that. We're good with that. But I can't sit up here as a mother and a grandmother and a leader of young people and allow somebody to say that. I don't get that. I'm sorry. I come from a different generation. I get it. But I know sexism when I see it. And I read it. That was awful.
So Kim Mulkey takes the opportunity to weaponize something at a good time for her, I think, because she was under attack from the Washington Post article, which, by the way,
Nothing burger?
Big nothing burger. What?
She's unlikable.
She's unlikable. She's bad to players. She's bad to former coworkers.
So is that the new one, or is that the one that still hasn't come out yet?
The Washington Post one was the Nothing Burger, where it talks about her, she's estranged from her family. It was just basically like a personality piece kind of thing.
Released.
Yeah, I read it, and I'm like, all right, so when is this article dropping? Nothing about this Kim Mulkey piece really surprised me, and I think this is manna from heaven to get this article so she can use it for her team. And honestly, she's in the right. It was kind of a BS article. Jeremy, it's kind of like that meme, worst person in the world, made a good point.
I looked up that article so slowly because I said to myself, please don't be a Bill Plaschke column. Please don't be a Bill Plaschke column. And I looked it up, saw the byline. I was like, okay, I don't know if I know this person. That makes me happy. The question with Kim Mulkey to me is like, first of all, she doesn't play that role very well. She's better off at being the jerk and being the villain. That you just don't really feel sorry for her there. Oh, how dare you not care about kids? Well, we can talk about a whole different set of things that Kim Mulkey doesn't seem to care about her own student athletes back in the day. But that's my question with Kim is like, how good of a basketball coach do you have to be for all these girls in high school to eventually say, hey, yeah, I want to be around that for 4 or 5 years? Like, I get the whole idea of getting the most out of people, being demanding and all. There's so many coaches around the country that can do that without all the nonsense. So why go there? Even the players like Haley Von Lith, who transferred over there, seems like she's had a bad time there. Yeah. And so it's like, what do we? Is she adding to her aura? Is she making more people want to come to her school now with all this? Or is she just showing herself to the point where she's going to lose some people? Because I just don't get the appeal. I'm going to need somebody to explain this one to me.
I get the appeal, and I think that she's certainly becoming more infamous, but I don't necessarily think that's bad for her brand. I think people will pay more attention to the championship that they most recently won. She's a very successful head coach. And while she had to take this approach, on the opposite side of the coin, I found Angel Reese's reaction to everything going into both this game and on the heels of that article and being called a villain. Keep in mind, this whole rivalry with Caitlin Clark started over the Tony Yayo, the John Cena "You Can't See Me," and her talking trash on the court, pointing to a ring finger and kind of embracing a villain role. And we can get into why this feels like good guys versus bad guys. But here's Angel Reese talking about the Caitlin Clark game that's coming up tonight.
Me and Caitlin Clark don't hate each other. Like, I want everybody to understand that it's just a super competitive game. And, like, I would just wish people realize that. Like, once I get between those lines, it's no friends. I have plenty of friends on the court that I talk to outside of the game. But, like, when I get between those lines, like, we're not friends. We're not buddies. I'm going to talk trash to you. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get in your head the whole entire game. But after the game, we can kick it. Like, I don't think people really realize that. And that's fine. I'll take the villain role. I'll take the hit for it. But I know we're going women's basketball, and if this is the way we're going to do it, then this is the way we're going to do it. You like it or you don't.
So, Izzy, you have the head coach saying, "How dare you call us villains in this way?" And you have Angel Reese fully embracing the villain's role on the court. So a bit of a different message from player and coach there.
It's almost like people don't understand what they're watching because women are doing it. But all this stuff doesn't need explanation when it happens in the men's game. Like, nobody's saying, oh, wow, Jimmy Butler must really hate Drew Holiday because of all those antics during the playoffs. No, like, we get what that's about. And so, yeah, the fact that she has to explain it, whatever, it is where it is. But she's saying what she said was absolutely perfect. It was almost like just the ABCs of sport.
I'm glad Lucy's not here at the moment because I'm going to say something. I think I'm rooting for LSU tonight. I want chaos. I want Kim Mulkey to have to just be feeling herself after the game. I want it to be close. I want America to be, because everyone's rooting for Caitlin Clark, right? So I'm just kind of being an anarchist.
Is everybody
I don't know
rooting
about
for Caitlin Clark?
No, not over here.
Yeah. Two Americas.
Yeah, this is a two Americas thing, and it's funny because I do want to talk. There are racial components to tonight, which is how Kim Mulkey and some people in that locker room also took that LA Times article too, and I do think that a bit of that is justified. A few years ago, Bomani was in co-hosting with us, and he said there are certain boxing matches that I can only watch with my black friends. And I was like, what do you mean? Hey, why can't I watch boxing with you? He's like, no, this is one of those fights that I just want to watch with black friends. There are racial components to this matchup, this Caitlin Clark Angel Reese one specifically, and it'll play out on social media. Just like there were racial elements to Magic and Bird, which is always the comparison when people are talking about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. There is a racial component, and if you don't see it tonight, tune into social media because it'll be in full force.
Yeah, but social media is the worst. Like, in reality, most people like Angel Reese, and Kim Mulkey's the one that we don't like.
No, you're not going to get any disagreement from me that social media is the worst, but it is an amplification of people's feelings. I mean, you can get into bots and whatnot, but there is a racial component 100% to what's going down tonight.